If you're building your ABA company and you're tired of guessing, this is for you. We built the EBCBA blueprint to give you real structure, systems, and support without the fluff. Details are in the description. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Fun fact with today's crew, between Jesse, Molly, Josh, and myself, there are 2 former cheerleaders on our panel. If you can guess who the 2 cheerleaders are, you'll get a bragging rights and a round of applause. So post in the chat, out of this group of 4 people on our panel today, who do you think the actual former college cheerleaders were out of this group? Love to hear your thoughts on that. In the meantime, we are going to be working on something that's very near and dear to all of our hearts, which is our KPIs, building your KPI dashboard. So in the Odyssey, we're taking you through how to build these systems and where to track them and how to put them together. And we're always talking about this concept that your business will tell you. How do I know when to hire somebody? How do I know if I'm doing a good job or a bad job? How do I know if I'm coming up on a cash flow issue or if my clinical quality is suffering? The answer is your business will tell you. But the way it tells you is the language that you program it to speak. You have to teach your business and program it to speak to you. And that's what these 2 wonderful ladies have joined us to talk about today, because they are experts on KPIs. So we have Molly, Ola Pinney, the founder and CEO of GAP. If you're not familiar with GAP, it's the Global Autism Project, a very large and influential, positive influence on the ABA field. She's also the president of ABA Business Coach. So very valuable information and expertise here on our live stream today. With Molly is Jesse Sheehan. Jesse Sheehan is the head of client success for ABA Business Coach. And the bottom line is we're all here to help you guys be more successful in your businesses. The more success you guys have, the more people get the help they need. The more help that those people get, the better our society is as a whole. So we're all here with that one singular focus, and these live streams are for you guys to help you zoom in on these specific areas. Join me in welcoming Molly and Jesse. Thank you for your valuable time today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're really excited to do this. I remember a little while back, we spoke about what we could talk about, what would be most beneficial. And I love that your business tells you. Those of us in ABA, and I've been in the field since 2002, are not new to this concept of using data to make decisions. And yet, when it comes to our business, we seem to have forgotten that we can use data to make decisions. So let me know in the chat, which of these, all of the above, maybe reflect you, right? If you are in the right place today, if you are an ABA clinician owner, if you are somebody who wants to know your numbers and make database decisions, but can't seem to figure out which numbers, one of the biggest challenges, like in any other data collection, is knowing what to collect. If I'm working on teaching a child how to do something, I don't know, I'm not going to be able to pull an example right now, but there's specific data that we collect that tells us whether or not they are making progress in that specific program. And your KPIs for your business are no different. Listen, you're in the right place if you don't have an MBA or you did not go to school to run a business. You went to school to learn how to work with kids, to learn how to run programs, etc. I've watched this really funny thing happen over the last 20 years where the ABA world transitioned solidly into this medical model. And when that happened, that impacted cash flow, that impacted what we upside, more people had access to services. Yes, on the upside, more people are entering the field. And oftentimes clinicians did not also learn how to run a business. That being said, you are also in the right place if you do have an MBA and you did go to school to run a business. Because what we're going to share is actually not just basic black and white KPI stuff, but some of the nuance of this field specifically. Listen, you're in the right place and type in the chat. You are all done with trying to wing it and hope for the best. And lastly, if you know that things can be better. So as Josh said, my name is Molly Ola Pinney. I'm the founder and CEO of the Global Autism Project. I'm a co-founder and president of ABA Business Coach together with my wife, Asia Davis. Asia is an entrepreneur our digital marketing expert. She has worked with more than dozens of autism centers around the world, and she's a mindset and leadership expert. You may have seen one or both of us in lots of different places. We've been at this for quite a while. And we created this specific class because after working with so many clinicians and seeing their growth, we are seeing the common clinician owners trying to implement KPIs. And a little fun fact, speaking of collecting data, about 6 years ago, when I started thinking and seeing that we really needed to figure out how to bring more business coaching, training, development. And I also am a clinician turned business owner. By accident, all of a sudden just started this little thing called the Global Autism Project and had to learn how to run a business in order to have it be sustainable and effective. But so many years ago, I posted something into and I said, KPIs do you measure in your business? And mostly people said, what are KPIs? And I've posted that question year over year, and it's same search KPI. And there has absolutely been a shift from people saying, what does KPI stand for? Or just ignoring it altogether, to saying, these are some that I found on the internet and I'm trying to measure. And now we're starting to see a little bit more sophistication. Again, guys, you are not new to KPIs. KPIs are just data, right? And so we started ABA Business Coach to teach you how to use data in the way that you do every day in your clinical work, how to use data to inform and direct where to go next with your business in the exact same way the use of data informs and directs where to go in your practice, in your programming with your kids. So you are not new to this. That's the good news, right? Took me a little while. At first, I thought I was brand new to this and I was a little bit, like horrified by the idea. I learned about KPIs a little over a decade ago, right? Here's the thing. ABA Business Coach is all about helping clinician-run ABA businesses grow with ease and joy. Why do we want to do that? Because we firmly believe that clinician-run businesses can be one of the best places for kids to be when they learn how to run businesses. We know that clinical quality is top-notch. We know that what you care about is the actual service to the kids. And I will share with you that if you are one of these people who cares about quality, and if that's you, go ahead and type quality in the chat real quick. If you are one of these people who cares about clinical quality, it will not maintain if you are not looking at the data in your business and making the right decisions for your business. Okay, that dream that I started this because I want to do it differently, because I'm going to do it more clinically excellent than anyone else in the world ever. All of that will get buried underneath endless to-dos and your dream will die, okay? If you don't figure out the business. Anyway, all right. So very quickly, if you're a clinician who wants to grow while maintaining quality services, if you need to find a better way to hire, onboard new staff, if you're overworked, tell me why you're here. Tell me why you're here, okay? And very quickly, if you need to log off early, Jessie is here, and she will get you what what you may miss. I got something a little surprise at the end. I'm going to miss it if you need to log off early. So go ahead, put your email in the chat so that you don't miss out on anything at all. Here's what you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to identify the 3 most important metrics for your business. You're going to learn why not knowing your metrics or your numbers or your data is actually killing your business. I know, don't worry. You're going to learn about that and you're going to learn what to do about it. And I'm going to share with you today the top mistake that we see ABA business owners making. So we have a little special gift for you for joining us today. Our KPI dashboard, very popular, downloaded many times. And that is really your starting point. That is going to give you, you have the actual dashboard. You don't need to go to YouTube Excel school and learn how to make the spreadsheet. We've done that for you. That also comes pre-filled with KPIs that you could measure. That being said, we're going to give you a little tour of that and we're going to dive into how to figure out which KPIs you need. Okay? So I've been saying KPI, data metric, key performance indicator. It is exactly what it sounds like. It indicates the performance of key metrics. Okay. It allows you to see it. What do we mean? We're talking about quantifiable measures of performance over time for specific objectives. Sound familiar? KPIs measure the success of an organization or of a particular activity, okay? Here's some examples of KPIs. Now, this is just a little pullout. That KPI dashboard you're going to get has a lot more than this, but these are just some things, okay? And these are some things that we find clinician owners, often their answer is, I don't know. I'm not sure. We say, what's your billing efficiency look like? They're like, I don't know. Your billing efficiency is date of service to build. Okay. Some people are billing once a month. Some people are billing every other month. Sometimes one of the biggest challenges is cash flow, right? How do you tighten that up? With your billing efficiency, you bill a bit faster. Okay. You bill within 48 hours of service, etc. How do you do that? Oh my gosh, you create systems and processes so that's not all falling on you. Okay. Net profit, looking at that net profit, making sure that you know it's not how much you make. Okay. It's not about that. It's about how much you keep. So you have to get those numbers really dialed in. You have to be crystal clear. What are those recurring expenses? Oh my goodness, what are those fixed expenses, the things that are the same every single month? What are those variable expenses, those things that go up and down and or they're all over the place? Your turnover rate is this one I feel wildly passionate about. And I've worked with businesses from single person startups to 14, 16 locations, tens of millions of dollars a year in terms of revenue. Turnover rate is vital to be looking at, okay? Your turnover rate is going to show you exactly how many people you are hiring, how many people are leaving within a certain period of time, and how many people you have to hire again. Now, there is this kind of locally accepted belief, I would say, in the ABA space that turnover rate is terrible and it is what it is, and that's all. There is also the locally accepted belief that a high turnover rate equals terrible. Not necessarily. Sometimes as we're building efficiencies and processes in our business, we need that high turnover rate. We need to turn over people who are not a fit for where the business is going. And then we should definitely see it evening out. Okay. This idea that the turnover rate, industry standard, 68%, there's nothing you can do about it. False, 100% false. Okay. But the first thing we need to do is track it. Your productivity, again, very important metric. Okay. This is for the people that you are paying a salary. And part of that salary is made up by the amount of money, the number of billables that person is doing for your company, e.g. the revenue that is being created. Okay, and I just want to, for a moment, if you're like, oh my gosh, what is she talking about? Put your questions in the chat. We're here. We got you. I won't be able to get to them in real time right away, but we'll get to them. Okay. New client hours. You are a growing organization. You've got new clients, but at the same time, older clients are falling off. Okay. So you've got new clients, but this person has so many cancellations and this and this. This metric tracks the number of new hours, e.g. true growth in your organization. Ooh, cancellations. Go ahead and type in cancellations in that chat if cancellations are a challenge in your business. I am guessing yes. Okay. Now we see cancellations on the staff side. We see cancellations on the client side. Oh my goodness. We have to track it to know, is it staff? Is it client? Is it both? Is it whatever? Right. And then we have to figure out what can we put in place to mitigate the impact of those cancellations, because those cancellations add up very, very quickly. Okay. Number of clients served per week. And then lastly, looking at that reserve account. What the heck is a reserve account? I freaking love that you asked. A reserve account is where when revenue comes in, you put in a little box over here. You don't spend it, look at it, you just reserve it. So before we dive in further, what I would like to know, and you can type it in the chat, is do you have KPIs? Are there specific numbers that you track in your business? Go ahead and type it in the chat, and I will be standing by here. Chat is coming into my phone. Okay. Do you have KPIs? What are the specific numbers that you track in your business? You can send that message to the group or to Jesse, or I have to tell you, I'm not fluent in Microsoft Teams. This was a team effort to make this happen. Share a screen, see myself, see the window, see y'all, all that good stuff. All right. So what KPIs are you tracking? All right. We've got billed amount per week. Excellent. Billed amount per week is very important. And it's a great indicator of what's going on back there, right? Billed amount per week, however, will not necessarily tell you how much the insurance companies decided to pay you. Now, I often say, go ahead and try to pay your electric bill the way the insurance companies decide to pay you. Just go ahead and write on your electric bill, I don't like how you track kilowatt hours. You don't need to resubmit. You don't need to upload this to my portal. You would not have lights, okay? So you need to track not only your billed amount, but that actual paid amount, okay? You'll see that on our dashboard is collection rate. How much are you billing out? How much are you being paid? Little caveat here, a lot of ABA business owners bill out what they would like to be paid over and above, oftentimes, the contracted rate. For this particular metric, Mariah, if you want to start looking at your billed to paid, it's your billed based on it's actually your contracted rate related to the money collected. Okay, and that's called your collection rate. That is one of the most important metrics to look at. I love it. Here's the thing, big picture, guys. Let's see if I can do this without a slide prompting me. I think I probably can, right? We get authorized hours. We get authed to scheduled to completed to rendered to billed, and billed to paid. Okay? So you want to think about that. You want to be looking at that sort of pathway, that funnel, that pipeline. I like to call it a pipeline, all the way through. Because at every single one of those, there's a lever you can turn. Okay? When the math is not mathing. Because here's the deal. You don't always know why the math isn't mathing, but you know when the math isn't mathing. Ask me how I know. I say that to clients all the time. Short version is, I learned it in the hardest possible way. Why do you ask? So you know why the math isn't math. You know when the math isn't mathing. This is about knowing when the math isn't mathing. Authorized to scheduled. Am I scheduling the authorized hours that I have? If not, why? Okay, got it, right? Scheduled to completed. I've scheduled it. Look at my schedule, pie in the sky, everything's great. How many of those scheduled hours were actually completed? And then it's not enough to do the work. You have to document it. Welcome to the medical model. Completed to documented. Render to billed, billed to paid. All right. If you have any questions about that, feel free to type them in the chat. All right. Here's the deal. Sometimes, as we start looking at our numbers, we realize that we're starting to turn away. Ask me how I know, right? We're not sure what the data is going to show us. And so we don't really look at it. What is that about? What goes on? I want to take a minute and introduce you to a little friend here called your narrator. And your narrator will inform whether or not you are tracking your KPIs or not. Oh, by the way, when you do start tracking your KPIs, oh, your narrator loves that. Your narrator jumps right in with, oh, I told you that was not going to be good. Oh, please, don't you know you can't run a business? Oh my gosh, you're never going to get this right. Your narrator has a freaking heyday. Why? Because your narrator keeps you in this place of fear. Your narrator keeps you in this place of judgment. Go ahead and type fear, judgment in the chat. Hey, listen, no judgment here. Go ahead and type fear or judgment in the chat if you resonate. If fear is keeping you from not looking at your numbers, if judgment is creeping in when you start to look at the numbers in your business, not always financial numbers, often financial numbers, okay? We're always looking at financial numbers, but it's not always the judgment that shows up then, okay? It's really easy to complete this sentence with the situation my business is in is crappy and makes me, your narrator's, oh, I know, stupid. Oh, I know, irresponsible. Oh, I know, bad at business. No. That's your narrator. By the way you handle your narrator, and oh, right now, your narrator is probably saying, I don't have a narrator. What is this about? I thought we were talking about business. Please don't listen to that. That's your narrator telling you, don't listen to that lady over there. But again, your narrator is here to keep you small. Your narrator is here to remind you of all of the things that you cannot do. Now, as a business owner, part of what you have to do is you have to go, thank you, narrator. Please have a seat over there. Oh, we're not talking about all the things I can't do right now. No, we're not talking about that right now. Thank you. Guys, here's the deal. When you're actually looking at the numbers in your business, I want you to try this on. The situation your business is in, when you look at the numbers, is the situation your business is in. It does not make you good. It does not make you bad. It does not make you any of the above. It is just that. That's it. No story, no narration, no peanut gallery. Your narrator is like peanut gallery. All right. So I said earlier, we don't know why the math isn't mathing, but we do know when the math isn't mathing. That's because of a little thing called blind spots. I'm going to share with you a little graph of all the knowledge in the universe real quick right now. And it's not John to scale. You get lots of knowledge. This is all the knowledge in the universe, all the languages, all things ChatGPT knows and more, right? You know what? Go ahead and type in the chat some of the things that you know. Maybe it's data collection. Maybe it's how to speak German. Maybe whatever it is. You know what you know. And you know what you don't know. Okay, now if you're catching the replay, you're not typing in the chat. I got it. But you know what, think for a minute. What are the things I know that I know about? Oh, I do know that I know how to drink water. Yep. I do know that I know how to walk. I do know. And you know what you don't know. I know that I don't know how to fly an airplane. I know that I don't know how to get to the restaurant that I'm hoping to go to for dinner tonight because I'm in Portugal right now. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. There is a third category, friends, often overlooked. And this is what allows us to, when we get present to this category, this allows us to explore the world in a way that I just didn't know that thing. That's okay. None of us were born knowing this. And I have been in a room with lots of suits who don't know most of what you know, who don't know any of what you know about ABA. And therefore, don't even really always know what they don't know about this industry as a whole. You don't know what you don't know. And nothing wrong. You don't know what you don't know. So as you are exploring the world and learning something and being like, oh man, I guess I'm an idiot. I didn't know that. Oh man, I guess I'm an idiot. I didn't know. That's just something that you didn't know. What do we call this? Blind spots. And how do we find them? We don't know why it's not working, but we know when it's not working. What area of your business is not working or not working as well as you want it to? what area of your business is not working or not working as well as you want it to, because I guarantee you that, my friend, is because whatever's going on over there, it's in your blind spot right now. Okay? We know when it's working. We don't know why it's not working. Ooh, here's the truth. I got to tell you, not knowing your metrics is killing your business. I want to be really clear here because this is really important to get. A lot of people say to me, I'm not a business person. I'm like, I got it, but you run a business. Listen, same. I was not a business person. I knew all the songs. I could do all the things with all the kids. I was not a business person. People would tell me in college they were studying business. I'd be like, oh, gross. I'm studying neuroscience. That's disgusting, you guys. Right? I was like so grossed out by the idea of a business. And then one day I woke up after running my business in the hardest way possible for a good 8 years. And I was like, oh, I run a business. I need to learn these things. And I got crystal clear that not knowing metrics is killing my business. And for you, I don't know about you, but for me, my business was my baby, still is. My first business is in her 20s this year, okay? My business is my baby. So the idea that I would be running it in a way that would have it not last, it's really sad. Because for me, my business was my baby. It was my dream. And it held the potential and possibility of so many kids' futures, much like yours. So that dream that you have, that thing that you couldn't stop thinking about, that you finally took a leap on. By the way, I want to acknowledge you for that, because being a business owner is not the easiest way to do life. Ask me how I know. Got a couple of them at this point, right? It's not the easiest way to do life. And oh, by the way, it doesn't have to be hard. But when you're first starting out, it's not the easiest way to do life, right? That thing that you were so excited about will actually die if you do not get clear about your metrics. That's all I have to say about that. Okay? This is not a thing that we put on a shelf and go, oh, I'll figure out how to run the business part of it later on. It won't work. It won't work. And oh, by the way, maybe your ego loses out. You feel a little sad about it, but ultimately, you are in the business of changing lives. And so for that to not survive, oh, I don't even like thinking about it. But I have to put this slide in here because it's such an important thing to know. Guys, if you are out to deliver high quality of care and ethical services, go ahead and type ethical in the chat if that's you. You need to know your numbers. The quality of care that you provide is 100% dependent upon the patient experience, provider experience, and enabling access responsibly. In order to higher scale and continue running a business, higher scale or continue running a business that serves your community, you got to know your numbers. Little pop quiz for you real quick. What do the founder of Google, Michael Jordan, Simone Biles, and CEO of Pepsi have in common? Give you the answer in a little bit. Just take a little minute and think about it. Like, she just said my business is going to die. That's okay. We got you. All right. Number one area of your business that is not working or not working as well as you want it to. If I had to guess, having worked with a few hundred y'all in 20 countries around the world, I would think cash flow. Go ahead and type in cash flow if we got that right. And if we didn't, that's all right. You do your own. You think about it for your own self. What is not working well or not working as well as I want it to? All right. So what do we do about this? We don't know why it's not working. We know when it's not working. Cash flow is an amazing barometer of what's going on in the business. And for the person, I think it was Mariah, who said, I track billable hours. That's great. That will tell you part of the story. And I want to share with you, when cash flow is not flowing the direction you need it to, what are the areas to evaluate? All right. Talked about this a little bit already. We're going to start with billing. Woo, I just talked to someone last night about to hire someone for billing. It cost them more than it's worth. Do you know how much your biller in your billing system actually costs? Do you know what billing errors are occurring? Guys, I've talked with folks who have outsourced their billing without the ability to oversee what is actually really happening. And I'm not kidding you when I tell you they're losing $100,000 a year in billing errors alone. The cost of your biller is not only the percentage that they're charging you, it includes the errors that they are making. It includes the amount they are billing out and not collecting. It includes, as I learned about last night, the amount they are checking off on your shared spreadsheet to track progress of tasks, but not actually billing. Okay? And it includes anything that has just aged out because it just one billed in time. That's why we want you billing consistently and often. Some businesses bill every single day. You don't necessarily have to do that, but I don't hate it. Billing is just a tiny piece that impacts your cash flow. We talked about this earlier. Since I billing, hours billed, collections. Are you being paid for the hours billed? If you are not being paid for 96% or more, let's talk. I'd like to get in touch with you because let's fix that for you. Okay. This idea of collections rate. How many hours are you being paid for that you have billed? Again, try paying your electric bill the way the insurance company pays you. Just because you send the bill doesn't mean you're getting paid for those hours. Okay, I've seen lots of people get into trouble on that side of things. What is that collections rate? Again, it is amount collected compared to contracted rate. So sometimes the math there gets a little fuzzy for folks. And is it consistent and is it predictable? Okay. One of the hardest things about cash flow is that unpredictability. That being said, once you have collected the data, once you know your collections rate, once you have mitigated the cancellations and all of the things that roll up into the issue of this billing issue, then you are able to have some predictability. We love predictability when it comes to finances. It can be really challenging in this industry. Oof, cash flow. Look at this. It's impacted by productivity. Do you have minimum hours set? I talk to people sometimes. I say, what's the billable minimum on your BCBAs? It's 26. When is the last time you did the math or made sure that those hours are actually being met? Because we have a tool, and by the way, if you want it, just go ahead, the little present for those of you joining live, type in BCBA salary calculator. If you would like our BCBA salary calculator, this is a tool designed by ABA Business Coach because of this conversation. This allows you to plug in how many billable hours, how much are you paying the person, how many hours are they working, and all the math gets all done. And it pops in. So just go ahead and type in BCBA salary and we will get that to you. Make sure we get your email address as well. If you're joining live, go ahead and type that in and Jesse will get that over to you. All right. Are those hours being met? Yes or no? You will see when using the salary calculator that if your minimum is 26 and you're barely breaking even on that, few weeks of 22 hours, it's going to cost you a lot. There is this very weird thing. This is part of the reason I made the salary calculator. There's this very weird thing that how much money you make on your BCBAs because you pick it all up on 97153, or they say, this is my favorite, you cannot make money on your BCBAs. False. One, of course you can. Two, there's a difference between not making profit and losing money. If you are losing $5,000 or $6,000 per BCBA based on billables alone, that means the first $5,000 or $6,000 that comes in from that 97153 has to go directly to that BCBA salary. Okay. Oh, and by the way, that $5,000 or $6,000 also has to pay your BTs, also has to pay your rent. Also, like you see, the math doesn't math, and that's why. Okay. Cancellations. Are cancellations the issue? We talked about scheduled to opt to scheduled, scheduled to cancel, scheduled to completed to render, or whatever it is. We talked about that. reverse the recording if you need to hear it again, right? So are these cancellations by staff or by families? Sometimes we track cancellations and go, oh my God, the cancellations are terrible. Here's the thing, guys, quick little note. If you are having to, and this is what I mean about quality services, by the way, if you are having to cancel on families because your staff is not showing up, you do not have a leg to stand on when you want to hold them accountable to a cancellation policy. So if that is happening in your business, just a quick little pro tip here, please get that dialed in right away. That does not work. You cannot be canceling on families and holding them to a cancellation policy. And yes, you do need to have a cancellation policy in place as a part of the system to mitigate those cancellations impacting your cash flow. Okay. Cost of team members. We hit on this a little bit earlier. Can you afford the rates that you're paying your team members? Again, those of you joining live, type in BCBA salary. We will hook you up with that salary calculator. You will be very excited, or at least informed by what you learn. Okay. Here's the other thing about salaries, hourly pay, etc. Is it in balance with billable hours? I see on the BCBA side of things, I see people losing a lot of money because the billables aren't being met. And I also see people paying unbillable time for BTs in a way that is not affordable. They're not doing the math to figure out, okay, my BT was here for 30 hours this week and only X number of those hours were billable. Okay. So again, lots of things we can put in place to mitigate. I had to pay someone a cancellation. Listen, guys, here's the deal. A cancellation costs you twice if you are paying somebody to be in that room. You get that cancellation from that client, that means that revenue is not coming in. But sorry about your luck, you now have to pay out as if your client was there because your team member was there. Okay. So again, I don't have time to get into all of this right now, but in our program, we go over lots of ways to mitigate that so that, and listen, guys, it's policy, it's structure, it's clear expectations, etc. But you need to set it up so that your team is not there and needing to be paid if you have a cancellation from a kid. Anyway, don't have time to go into it. I'm going to leave it at that for now. All right. So where to begin? I want you to immediately look at what's not working or not working as well as you want it to. That is going to give you that top level issue. Okay. Here are 3 key metrics. You're like, I have no idea. I'm totally overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. Let's start here, guys. Let's look at your net profit margin. Okay. Let's look at your collections rate. We talked about that. And here's another area, huge blind spot for people. How many hours are you working? Are you paying yourself for working those hours? And most importantly, what are those hours being spent doing? Are they being spent doing something that moves the needle, or are they being spent, I see you, organizing your materials? Okay. So again, you're going to get access to this beautiful dashboard template. You could tell just by looking when you get access to this. Very exciting. There are tabs on the bottom for each quarter. Highly recommend quarterly tracking. Okay. The cells in yellow are the only ones you should fill in, or you could break the dashboard. And that's not your narrator speaking. That's Molly speaking. As somebody who has seen people break the dashboard, you got to follow the instructions on this. Okay. So filling in those yellow cells so that you don't break the dashboard. Now, these all have conditional formatting in them, so they will shift based on whether or not you are hitting your goal. Okay. So actually the goal gets filled in as well. You can't tell on this one, but you can on the one you're going to get. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. For the first time you use this spreadsheet, I want you to collect 3 data points. What's that called? Starts rhymes with what? I don't know. Baseline, right? I want some baseline data. Complete 3 weeks of data collection. Then set your benchmarks based on actual data and enter them into column C. Okay. That will allow your quarterly goal to populate and your weekly goal to populate, and then those yellow cells will turn colors. Here's the most important thing to remember, friends. It's got to be focused. It's got to be easy. It's got to be a habit. Fidelity of implementation is the most important thing. It is essential that a number is recorded regularly, at a minimum monthly. Okay. I prefer weekly. Why? Because I don't want to wait a month to see. Again, this is how your business talks to you. I love how they put that earlier, right? I do not want to wait and have a conversation with my business at the end of the month. Hey, how'd it go? I am not going to wait and have a conversation at the end of the month with my wife. Hey, how was your day? How were things the first week of June? No, we're not having that conversation in July. We're having it today, this week. Okay. So keeping it focused, setting aside real, actual time, okay, to do this. Now, if you're like, oh, wow, that sounds amazing, but I'm real busy putting out fires and doing all the things, and I still work direct with kids and all that good stuff. Okay, got it. Let's talk. Reach out to our team, okay? It's the kind of thing we help with. But create even an hour a week where you are pulling in some of these numbers. And guys, again, fidelity of implementation was what I care about the most. So maybe it's one KPI you're looking at. Maybe it's 2. Maybe it's 3. You do not need, in fact, do not get all of the KPIs off the dashboard and go, okay. Make it easy. Start easy. Start with a number you can easily find. Oh, by the way, that collections rate question, that is a question you should be able to ask your biller. If your biller does not have that answer, or they tell you it will take a few weeks, that's your old biller. Reach out. We'll connect you with a great team of people. Okay. This needs to be a habit. This is a weekly thing. Spoiler alert, running a business is a series of recurring tasks. Once you learn that, you will find that things work a lot better. All right? And then make it reinforcing. Track something you're excited to track. Go get yourself ice cream after you track it. I don't know, right? Create a routine for yourself, and doing KPIs is just fun. All right? Do not only track the problems. Track something you're proud of. Goals met in your kids, right? That gets tracked anyway, probably in your software. All right, guys, here it is. The number one mistake that we see people make does not have to do with calculations. Is not about the size or the value of the data. Is not even related to spreadsheets. The number one mistake we see people make is making these numbers mean something about you as a business owner or as a person. We do these calls. We track our KPIs with our clients every single month. We have a call. It's called the KPI squad call. It's a small group call with other folks in the program, and they're all looking. And you could tell when somebody first joins the program, they're like, oh my gosh, these are my KPIs and they're not good. And I'm super upset about it. And then by the time they've been in the program a few months, they're like, yes, my KPIs, here's what I'm doing about it. It is only information. You would not look at a kid's data and go, oh my God, this kid. But yet you'll look at your own data and go, oh my God, this woman cannot run a business. We would not look at a kid's data and think that it means anything about the kid. We would look at the kid's data and think, okay, this is information, and I'm going to change how I educate this child, how I teach them, right? What is it? Skinner says we don't look at a dying flower and blame the flower, blame the environment, right? Do not look at the data and blame yourself. Change what's happening in your business. Guys, here's the thing. It took me way too long to learn. And a lot of my clients like bristle. I could see them do it every time I say this. Well, I go, it doesn't have to be hard. Like it does. It does have to be hard. It is hard. You don't know. I do know. It does not have to be hard. You do not have to repeat the same mistakes. You don't have to figure it all out yourself. I asked you earlier, what do you think the founder of Google, Michael Jordan, Simone Biles, and the CEO of Pepsi have in common? And I'll tell you. Sound good, right? They had coaching. They had mentorship. This whole thing about blind spots. Okay? We don't know what we don't know. And there's nothing at all wrong. Okay? So why have mentorship? Why would it matter? Why not just go it alone? I've got my KPI dashboard. I'm good. That's all right. You said my business is going to die. I'm good now. I'll make sure the business doesn't die. When you grow yourself, when you have guidance through the challenges, you will be more successful. And I want to share with you just really quickly, because for a long time, I really struggled in my business. It was very challenging. It was like throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. I remember waking up and just being like, why is this so hard? In fact, many years ago, I hit record on my computer, and I wish I could find this video. And I was like, if I ever figure out how to have this not be so freaking hard, I promise to share it with others. And ABA Business Coach is the result of that conversation I had with myself. See, I was starting to see at that point that maybe it didn't have to be hard. I was married to this woman. No, I hadn't married her yet, but whatever. I married her actually 10 years ago yet. Tomorrow. Isn't that fun? So I just met her, and she had a coach guiding her entire journey. She was not dealing with the challenges that I was dealing with. I was like, hey, get me one of those coaches. Guys, after that, everything changed. And that's how it is for our clients, right? So I'm just going to leave it at that. Blind spots. We don't know what we don't know. And you, my friends, are the first people who get an invitation to take our blind spot quiz, which I have to say we're very excited about here at ABA Business Coach. We've been working on this for a long time. It has had many iterations, but this is a quiz that will allow you to identify your biggest business blind spot. Okay? So it's going to live at, you can find it here. That link live, Jesse. This is like literally in this moment. There you go, guys. You are the first people officially invited to take this quiz that will allow you to see what are the areas of my business, like where am I focusing? What am I not focusing on? What do I not know? I don't know, right? That whole thing. Okay. It's ababusinesscoach.com/quiz. I'm gonna look at my phone real quick, see if we have any questions coming in. I'm going to take a minute and ask you about what some of your takeaways are. Okay. All right. Got a question on what is cash flow. Love this. Cash flow, and it says, is cash flow money coming in? Yes, and, right? It's money coming in and money going out. And y'all know sometimes it goes out faster than it comes in. Okay. So that is cash flow. And very often, it is not a total revenue, total expense issue. It is a cash flow issue, meaning I'm going to have plenty of money in a couple of weeks. But right now, today, I don't have the money I need to have to run payroll. I don't have the money I need to have to pay my rent. I'm going to have plenty of money in the future. Okay. I can see. And this is where the predictability really helps. This is where the billing cycle really helps, because oftentimes, guys, you can mitigate that cash flow issue by billing cycle alone. Okay. We call that revenue cycle management, managing your revenue cycle. If you are only billing twice a month, and then listen, it's not like these people get your bill and pay that night. Okay. It's like these people get your bill and they look at it. And I don't know what they do, put it into their like Willy Wonka machine. I don't know what these insurance companies do, right? But they get the bill, they look at it, and then they decide. They shake their Super 8 ball. Should we pay this? Nah, let's deny it. Then you're not getting that money. Well, wouldn't it have been nice to know a week ago that you weren't getting that money without resubmitting a claim? Yeah, sure would have. So you want to think about that as well when you're looking at that cash flow. Money in, money out, money in, money out. The game is to make the money in be more than the money out in any given time period. Again, how do you do that? All kinds of ways. Sometimes those cancellations are catching up with you. Sometimes it's deductible season. There's all kinds of things, guys. Money in, money out. It's a great question. All right, let me see. Any other questions? Let's see here. Unlock my phone. Any other questions? You can go ahead and put them in the chat. And if you learned anything today, go ahead and type that in the chat. Any takeaways, anything that you learned?
Molly, I did want to jump in.
Sure.
You mentioned a few things that are touchy points for a lot of people who have come out of working as a BCBA or any clinical position with one of the big private equity backed or just one of the very large ABA companies. And one of those things out of the many is the minimum billable hours. But I want everybody to remember that Molly predicated this entire talk on two priority points, which are ethics and clinical quality. Those are the two most important things in your business always. After that, keeping track of these numbers and making sure that you're setting boundaries for your team, for your business, and that you can see if you're getting close to the boundary or crossing over it. There is nothing sinful about this. There is nothing wrong about that. This is something that you can judge your business's health by, and your business has to be healthy. So there are things that we can learn from the private equity big box side.
Oh, for sure.
The numbers they're paying attention to are important numbers for a reason, but it needs to be in the context of y'all's businesses that are run by clinicians and where you're doing things for the right reasons and not just for the profit. So these are important numbers.
I'm really glad you said that, because I'm not ever going to be one of those people who, again, clinical background, I'm not ever going to be one of those people who says, this is the number that you need to bill for every kid all the time. Let it be clinically indicated. And those billable hours, by the way, guys, listen, those billable hours, when you're looking at those billable hours, what has it not always worked for big box, although sometimes it does, is it's someone in a boardroom kind of driving up those hours without any thought as to what exactly does that BCBA's day look like day in and day out. And if you can support that BCBA in streamlining and simplifying and automating and outsourcing any bit of those extraneous non-billable things to create the time for them to be able to complete those billable hours, then you are able to increase billable hours without it creating burnout, overwhelm, etc. But you cannot, and I'm glad you said this, you cannot go, oh my gosh, I ran my numbers. Looks like we need 35 billable hours a week. First of all, no, you don't need 35 billable hours a week. Second of all, a very prominent author of an ethics textbook recently said at a conference, and I saw it going around the internet like wildfire, how many billable hours are ethical? This is someone we all know as the person who tells us what is ethical. He has never run a business, so fair enough, just an important context there. But he said 20 hours is ethical. I invite you to do the math on 20 billable hours, okay? It will not work. And I would submit to you, and another prominent author of an ethics textbook that I do a lot of work with was like, oh, that's not ethical at all. Because if you can't pay your BCBA and your BCBA needs to go get other hours or quit, that is not ethical. Okay. And I'll tell you right now, having run a lot of BCBA salary calculators, 20 hours, the math ain't mathing. It is not mathing, because you're going to get that money in. You need to pay some rent. You need to pay some taxes. You have all kinds of expenses, and there's not a whole lot left at the end. Okay. Generally about 40% after your overhead, all that comes out. Now, if you are only bringing in 1 hour at 20 hours, this is the 20 hours billable, bringing in 1 hour to pay out for 2 hours, the math will not math. Okay. And we can talk way more about that. You can do the quiz, email our team, whatever. But I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that there is a world in which you go, I'm going to do it different. I'm not going to pay attention to billable hours. I'm going to focus on clinical quality first. And that's why I have that whole slide. It's going to kill your business. Your business will die. I don't know how else to say it. It's so heartbreaking to me because there's nothing I freaking love more than an entrepreneurial journey. There's nothing I love more than people who saw how it was done and said, I'm going to do it differently. It resonates with me very deeply. I'm founder of the Global Autism Project, right? So I think really great point. And part of what we do with ABA Business Coach is we do share with you those numbers, those metrics, those things that you need to be paying attention to that in many cases overlap what Big Box is paying attention to because they know a thing or two about driving profits, right? And putting it in the context of this is clinician run. What do we have to do so that we can maintain that clinical quality, that clinical excellence, not just on our website, not just on paper, but in those kids' lives, and make sure that all of these numbers and the math is mathing.
You guys are awesome. There's a few people that there's a certain type of person that I could call you and wake you up at 2:00 in the morning, and from a dead sleep, you could just jump right into this and talk about this, like the sign of a true expert and true experience. So thank you guys so much for joining us and sharing these words of wisdom and knowledge. And if you guys haven't done the ababusinesscoach.com/quiz, go do that. It's really cool. Josh has actually already checked it out and said, hey, this is really cool. So go check that out. Reach out to these ladies. They can actually help you with your business and point you in the right direction on those specific subject matters. So once again, thank you guys for joining. And thank you, Jesse and Molly, for being here with us today. We'll see you on the group, everybody.
Thanks for your time. Take care, everyone.
You're already doing the work, investing your time, your energy, and your vision. So let's make it count. Build something that works without breaking you. The EBCBA Blueprint is the way. Get started for free with our foundation course.